Hello, hello, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us for our pre-arrival webinar, Undergraduate Student Life and Getting Involved at UC San Diego. My name is Grace Fuller. I serve as the Manager of Student Experience and Engagement at the International Students and Programs Office, also commonly referred to as ISPO, and I'm joined by some wonderful colleagues today that I'll hand over to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is May Thatch. I am the Program Coordinator for the International Peer Coaching Pilot Program.
Hello, thanks for joining us today. My name is Alan Shookman, and I work as the Program Coordinator at UC San Diego International House.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mario Garibay. I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs for Muir College, and I'm one of the Assistant Deans who coordinates the out-of-state and international program in the undergraduate colleges, and we'll talk more about that later.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priscilla Jew. I go by PJ. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm an Assistant Dean of Student Affairs at Sixth College, and I'm the other staff member that helps to coordinate the outreach program.
Great. So as you can see, there's so many different folks here on campus dedicated to hopefully facilitating your student life here at UC San Diego. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. So you are in listen only mode, which means you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. So because of that, we encourage you to connect with us and communicate with us via the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom bar. That is how you will be submitting your questions. We've disabled the chat, so that will be the primary way you submit your questions. But if for some reason we don't get to your question today, you can always reach out to us at icontact.ucsd.edu. And finally, we are recording, so you'll be able to view this webinar as well as other pre-arrival webinars we've done at iwebinars.ucsd.edu and click on the tab for newly admitted students. Again, this is just highlighting kind of what that Q&A feature will look like and how you can communicate with us throughout the webinar. I encourage you to submit questions throughout the webinar. So if there's a slide where maybe you have a follow-up question or let's say we're in the student panel and you would like to ask a follow-up question there, feel free to go ahead and submit that. We will dedicate all those questions to our open Q&A at the end of today's webinar, but feel free to submit them throughout. Okay, a little bit about our agenda for today. So we'll go ahead and talk about some of the programs and events hosted by the International Students and Programs Office. We'll hear from our International Peer Coaching Program, the outreach coordinators for international and out-of-state students, International House, talk a little bit about globally engaged Tritons, and then have our student panel. So transitioning to ISPO, if you are new or joining us for the first time, the International Students and Programs Office is a part of the Department of Global Education here at UC San Diego. We are here to assist international students from the very start. We provide pre-arrival information and orientation for new international students, such as this pre-arrival webinar, as well as advising services for you and your family throughout the year. You can come to us if you have any questions regarding your international students' visa and status. In addition, we also offer a variety of cross-cultural programs and activities for all students at UC San Diego, a couple of which I'll go over in the next few slides. We offer drop-in and scheduled Zoom appointments and advising, so feel free to drop in and say hi, whether it be through Zoom advising or attending one of our programs. And a little bit about who are our students. So I'd like you to take a look at our fall 2020 snapshot, and you can see that there are actually over 8,000 international students enrolled at UC San Diego. In addition, there are about 2,000 international students on post-graduation employment status, known as optional practical training or OPT, or academic training, AT. Each one of you makes a significant contribution to UC San Diego's research and educational endeavors. ISPO helps to support this growing population through our services, including presentations like today. So let's get started. A friendly reminder for our students who are most likely wanting to request their visa immigration documents, such as your Form I-20 or DS-2019, you can start requesting those documents now. And a really helpful website for our newly admitted students is inewstudent.ucsd.edu. Here you can find important information about requesting your immigration documents and preparing for arrival. It's very likely that if you have questions about how to request those documents, you'll be able to find those answers here on our website. We also have a new feature where you can ask Triton. So that's our chatbot function. And so if you don't necessarily know where to get started, you can often go ahead and type in a keyword into that chatbot feature, and that will point you in the right direction. So I encourage you to give it a try. And now for a little bit about our programs. So on the slide here, you can see our ISPO signature programs, or as we refer to them, iPrograms. I'll highlight that this link right here, iprograms.ucsd.edu, is a great way to learn more about the different programs that I'll highlight right now. But for right now, I'll go over a few of them. So English in Action is our English conversation program that allows students to sign up and practice their English conversational skills with a native English speaker. Intercultural Social Hour is actually hosted by our international peer coaches, who you'll hear from in a minute. And it's a casual game night where folks can get together and hang out in a relaxed environment and participate in cross-cultural conversations. ISPO Chats is our monthly office hour with ISPO leadership. We want to make sure that we are hearing the international student experience and advocating for the improvement of the international student experience. And so we encourage folks to come and meet us. You'll hear from the International Peer Coaching in a moment, so I'll let them talk about themselves. Our iTable program is our basic needs program for international students. So that addresses food security and housing security. Let's Talk is our program dedicated to mental health. So we actually host this program in collaboration with our Counseling and Psychological Services Liaison. And so ISPO and CAPS, Counseling and Psychological Services, co-host this program. And then Triton Trekkers is our collaboration with Outback Adventures. So this is a program designed to get our students out exploring San Diego. Oftentimes, I think this quarter we hosted a kayaking trip, a snorkeling trip, hiking trips. So it's a great way to explore and make the most of your time here in San Diego. So like I said, this is a brief kind of introduction to some of our signature programs. And if you'd like to learn more about any one of these, a great way to do so is by visiting iprograms.ucsd.edu. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague May to talk about the International Peer Coaching Pilot Program.
Thank you so much, Grace. Just before I get started, there was a question asking about English in Action, and it is a free program and anyone can join. So again, I wanted to reiterate our international peer coaching program. Sorry if my audio goes in and out, just let me know. If you go to the next slide, Grace. Okay, so for our international peer coaching pilot program, we are here to assist our incoming first year international students. So if you are a first year, meaning like first year undergraduate student, please join our program. We are geared towards, we have international peer coaches who have been through the experience, and they're here to help you establish meaningful connections, developing personal and professional relationships with other UCSD international students as well. And like I mentioned before, it is open to all incoming first year international students. Next slide. So how our peer coaching program works is that we have each of our international peer coaches working in each of the 7 colleges. And so they work with all international first year students in each college. So what they do typically as a peer coach is that they would send weekly emails to their students throughout the quarter, helping them, gearing them to prepare and help students transition to UCSD. So informing them on either, current events that are happening or deadlines that are for your academic settings. So your peer coaches are here to guide you through that whole process during your first year. They are also available for one-on-one peer coaching appointments. So you can make these appointments. Currently right now, we do everything through Zoom, but in the future, when you come in the fall, we're hoping to continue this with face-to-face conversation with your peer coaches. And then lastly, of course, we have our Instagram accounts where you can follow us and see what our program is about, and all of our connections on campus as a peer coaching program. And right now, we currently have our interest form open. And so if you'd like to join our peer coaching program as a mentee during your first year, you can feel free to send us information. And then from there, we'll have your peer coaches reach out to you once you come on campus in the fall. Okay, next slide. And then, as Grace had mentioned before, our international peer coaches also, of course, host various different events for international students. Our peer coaches, our events are geared towards building community among international students in general. So we've hosted socials, craft nights to educational webinars, talking about topics that would affect the community. And we also, of course, know that a lot of our international students are interested in professional building workshops. So we definitely worked with Career Center to put on like workshops such as resume building and interview practices and other career professional building events as well. And right now, as an incoming student, if you would like to get to know a bit more about the UC San Diego life and anything like that, or speak with an international student, we currently have our regional meetups that are open to all international students as well as incoming international students. They are split up by different regions, and so they will be convenient during the time for your region. All times on our ievents.ucsd.edu are posted in Pacific time zone, but they are also geared towards a good time for your region. So we definitely encourage you all to come out to these regional meetups, get to know some of the peer coaches that we have, and just learn a little bit more about UC San Diego before you get here in the fall. Thank you.
So hi again, my name is Mario, and I'm here to talk about the Out-of-State International Outreach Program, which is one of the programs that is run through the undergraduate colleges at UC San Diego. So at some point, you've either met your colleges and or will be meeting your colleges either through orientation or through Triton Days. And so the 7 undergraduate colleges also host this program specifically for our out-of-state international students. So just a little bit about the outreach program. So it works in colleges to assist non-resident students in their transition to UC San Diego and help students get acclimated to campus life and California culture. So we specifically host programs for international and out-of-state students to both connect with other students on campus, as well as to learn more about the surrounding area. We usually do these in person, and our hope is that once we make the transition to fall, that we'll be able to do some trips both throughout California as well as in the San Diego region. But at this time, we've been doing a lot of our programs virtually. And my colleague and friend, PJ, will talk a little bit about more of those specific programs in just a few minutes. Next slide. So just really briefly, again, myself and PJ are the 2 staff members, the 2 assistant deans of student affairs who work with the outreach program. And we also have 3 undergraduate students. Next year, we'll have 4 undergraduate students. And one of them is joining us today. Her name's Rajma, and she'll talk a little bit about her experience. But here are other undergraduate students that if you come to some of our programs or events, or you follow us on social media, you might be able to engage with them. The first is Angelica Rock, and she's an out-of-state student from North Carolina. We also have, like I said, Rajma Saini, who is an international student whose hometown is San Diego and Tijuana, Mexico, as well as Allison Wang, who's an international student from Canada.
Great, so we just want to review some of the different events that we do. So one of them is the GAP Mentorship Program, which I'll talk about more in just a second. But we host a bunch of programs and mixers throughout Welcome Week just to help you find your footing, meet other students, find your community on campus. We host a weekly global trivia night. So if you like trivia, then this is definitely the program for you. It's a lot of fun. We've currently been doing it over Zoom, but we hope to be able to do them in person come the fall. We have a program called iCafe, Passport to Culture, where we highlight different countries and cultures every week as just an opportunity for us to learn from each other and engage in that way. And then we have our Board of Out-of-State Students, which is our out-of-state student organization. And then we host programs with each of the undergraduate colleges. So once you're here, you'll be within your own college and you can come to any of our outreach programs, but there'll also be programs that are hosted specifically in your college area. In March, it is Women's History Month. And so we collaborate with other partners on campus on Women of the World programming, and typically we host a panel. And we'll also highlight other cultural celebrations throughout the year, such as Dia de los Muertos, Lunar New Year, Carnaval, etc. So the GAP Mentorship Program is an opportunity to have our incoming out-of-state and international students pair up with current students. These current students might be California students, they might be other out-of-state students, other international students. It kind of depends on what you as an incoming person are looking for, and would be a good match. But the idea is that you get paired with them and they are able to show you and talk to you and answer all of your questions about what it means to be a student at UC San Diego, how to explore San Diego, how to get involved, important campus resources, all of that good stuff. So our mentee applications are currently open until July 1st. So Mario just dropped the link in the chat. So please apply. Next slide. And then in the meantime, please feel free to follow us on social media. You can see our Facebook and our Instagram handle here. And then Mario just dropped our Facebook link as well in the chat. So yeah, follow us on social media. That's how you can get connected with us and find out what we're doing. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, my name is Alan, and as I said earlier, I work as the program coordinator at UC San Diego International House, and I'm really excited to be able to share information with you today. I'm placing a number of our links and contact information into the chat, and as a little bit of background, there are currently 16 international houses operating in 5 countries across the world. And the first one was started in New York in 1924, and it was organized as a place to really welcome and support international students during their studies here in the US. From there, the network of iHouses has grown. Ours at UC San Diego started in 1988, and we have had housing and programs available to students ever since. While these are important places physically, probably the most important thing to know about International House is it's really a gathering place and a way of promoting global understanding and really people from all different backgrounds to come together. Next slide. All right, well, the icons you see here represent the wide range of programs that we offer at International House. Next slide. And what we want you to especially know today is that all students from all colleges, all class levels, all countries, all backgrounds are invited to participate in our in-person and online activities. So recently we have been doing quite a bit remotely, and we intend to support students and to reach them wherever they are as the new school year begins in the fall, whether that is online programming or in-person gatherings. We'll find a way to have people involved in what iHouse is doing. And I should say that while we have residents living at iHouse, both domestic and international students, you do not need to be a resident in order to participate in our programs. Next slide. So we have quite a few different programs to meet the needs of students and university community members. One of the most popular is language conversation tables, where students once a week take the time to volunteer and teach a language that they're familiar with and share the culture or cultures associated with that language with other students. This is a great program that's really driven by the enthusiasm of students who want to participate. And we've been doing that in the past in person and most recently online. So we're able to reach students again, wherever they are. There are cultural programs like iHeart that tap into different art forms from around the world. and Monday Cooking, where students get to enjoy a dish that's close to their heart and explain how to prepare it and what's needed to other students. Next slide. We really want to take on challenging issues that face the world today. And one of the places to do that is through our Global Forum program. And so we have thought leaders, professors, folks from NGOs, NPOs, different organizations who come together and address some of the more challenging situations that exist in the world today. We also have a program called Global Interviews, where students have a chance to be interviewed and to share what they're doing related to global understanding, global citizenship, and to inspire other students with their examples. Next slide. We have quite a few community events that bring students and others together and that promote education and awareness of various things happening within our community and others. Next slide. And when it's safe to do so, we also are very happy to take students on outings out into the community all around San Diego. Some of those within the Slice of San Diego program area focus on where you can find aspects of global culture within San Diego. And our community projects program is all about getting out, volunteering, joining local nonprofit organizations, and seeing how we can contribute and be better global citizens. Next. We have 5 incredible student organizations that are affiliated with International House. You can see them listed here. And these will be great organizations to look into, to get involved with as we approach the new school year. Next. All right, we want you to know where we are geographically at the campus of UC San Diego. We are situated on the grounds of Eleanor Roosevelt College, and our event space and our offices, they are in a building known as the Great Hall that has just an incredible event space. And we look forward to seeing you at some point next year for some of the programs that I've shared today. Next slide. All right, well, we'd be very happy for you to stay in touch with us through social media or other channels. You can see again in the chat, you have some different links that you can explore now. And if you have particular questions, please feel free to jump on our website and send us an email. And we absolutely look forward to seeing you engage with International House next year. I'll pass it back to Grace.
Thanks so much, Alan. All right, so as you can see, there's actually a number of different offices and folks here on campus who are dedicated to serving our international student population. And we actually all come together to make up globally engaged Tritons to really promote the globalization and internationalization of our campus. And so with that, we've also offered the Globally Engaged Tritons Co-Curricular Record Certificate. And so you might be wondering, what even is my co-curricular record? So similar to your academic transcript, when you graduate from UC San Diego, you'll request your academic transcript, and that will list all the different classes that you took at UC San Diego, and UC San Diego is validating that this student took these classes, passed these classes, we can verify that. So your co-curricular record is the complement to your academic transcript, but for learning opportunities outside of the classroom. So a lot of our programs that we just highlighted are eligible to go onto your co-curricular record. So for example, language conversation tables from iHouse, or global trivia or iCafe from Outreach, intercultural social hour from our international peer coaches. And so these go together and you participate to earn credit towards your Globally Engaged Tritons CCR certificate. A great way to learn more about how to get involved. This is one thing that you can put on your resume. It's a great way to develop some of your leadership skills, is getccr.ucsd.edu. And many students take advantage of this opportunity during their first year at UC San Diego, because it's a way to build some of your competencies. And then again, list that on your resume as maybe you apply for other leadership opportunities, whether that be an internship or on-campus employment or off-campus employment. And so related to our Get CCR certificate is our Globally Engaged Tritons calendar. You can access this calendar via ievents.ucsd.edu. So this is basically a one-stop shop for all events involving global engagement at UC San Diego. You'll actually see a number of the events we just talked about listed there. A lot of our students will bookmark this page, and then whenever they're wondering, what's going on? Like what is there to do? You can pull up this because it's a live calendar that is auto-populated with events happening all the time. So not only is it populated by events that our offices coordinate, but also different student orgs across campus and different campus partners. So it's really a great way to kind of see what's going on and how to get involved here. And then the last thing I'll highlight as a part of kind of our collective is the Global Hub. And the Global Hub is specifically designed in this virtual environment and how to stay connected in an interconnected world. So it provides a plethora of opportunities to engage virtually with Tritons at UC San Diego, and you can learn more by visiting globalhub.ucsd.edu. And now I just want to take a few quick moments to talk about other ways that our students will often get involved during their time here at UC San Diego. A really common way to do so is through student orgs. Many of our students find their community through student orgs related to their interest, related to a number of different themes. So you can go to studentorg.ucsd.edu, and that will kind of show you all the different student orgs that are registered at UC San Diego. Additionally, you can kind of see on the left-hand side of the screen, you can also filter by different interests or categories. So if there's something that's specifically of interest to you, that's a great way to learn more. And then we have the Virtual Student Union. And the Virtual Student Union is actually very similar to our Globally Engaged Tritons calendar. But while our Globally Engaged Tritons calendar kind of focuses on events that promote global engagement or the internationalization of our campus, the Virtual Student Union really kind of focuses on everything, basically all the different events that are happening at UC San Diego. So many of our students will also bookmark this tab in terms of like, just to stay up to date on what's going on, what might be of interest to them, and to get more involved. And with that, I'll hand it over to our student panel.
Thank you so much, Grace. So as we spend the remainder of our time, I just wanted to remind everyone that if you had questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. And then during our time with our student panels, I'll just be asking them an assortment of questions. And then at the end of it, we'll have the open space for you to ask them any questions you'd like. So we'll start off with our student panels introducing themselves, and we can start with Emmy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eni Kuku. I'm Nigerian. I'm a Revelle student, a mechanical engineering major. I'm a senior now, graduating in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to this.
Hi everyone, my name is Ayushi. I am from India. I grew up in Mexico. I am from John Muir College and I'm a clinical psych major. I'm on the same boat as Eni, graduating in a couple weeks, and I'm excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Rajma Saini and I'm from Tijuana, Mexico, and also San Diego. And I'm from Muir College and also doing a major in developmental psychology. And yeah, very excited to meet you all.
Thank you, everyone. So for our first question, it's regarding coming to UC San Diego. What was the most challenging part of adapting to UC San Diego? And then were there any UC San Diego resources that helped the adaptation process during your first year? Emmy, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I would say for me, probably the hardest thing was the first couple of weeks being an international student. There's so many things flying at you, just so much information. And the hardest thing was, I guess, feeling like I had to be able to digest all that information and stay on top of my classes. And I was just really eager to get like really acclimated to the campus as fast as I possibly could. And so it was walking around Library Walk all the time, trying and taking these cards and bulletins from all the different orgs and just trying to figure out, you know, where I should be and who I was going to be on this campus, and just trying to like figure out who I was as a UCSD student. And that was probably the hardest part for me, adjusting, just because those first couple of weeks, right? School is coming at you, but all your friends are joining different orgs and you're meeting people, and you just want to know, like, okay, can I finally get a routine going? Can I get this going? Can I get that going? And I would say the resources that helped me the most were, as a Black student on campus, there's actually a Black Resource Center, and they had a similar mentorship program to what we're currently doing with the International Peer Coaching Program. And I had students that had been in similar positions to me that were able to just tell me, all right, just take a step back, Annie, relax. You don't have to be perfectly situated by the first week of coming to a new university. Just breathe, relax, and everything will come to you.
I definitely resonate with that, Annie. For me, I think the most difficult part of adapting to UCSD was not having my, like, being uprooted from where I'm from and having to settle new roots here in San Diego. So similar themes of trying to find that normal, that consistent life, trying to find friends, people, everything. And I think my college was very helpful with that. They were hosting events. I remember going to the outreach coordinator's ice cream event and meeting new people. So there's definitely a lot going on. You have to pick and choose what you want to do. And like Annie said, don't do everything. It's okay. There's a lot of things, and pace yourself. Take your time.
Adding to what has just been said, for me, the most difficult thing was balancing academics and social life. It is very exciting, like your first couple of weeks to go out to every single event. Class load is not that heavy the first 2-3 weeks, but then it was challenging, like when midterms came and I was like lost my first quarter because I was attending all these social events and I didn't pay attention to academics, which is totally fine. Just doing it in a more balancing manner would have been better for me. But yeah, the resources that helped me were also my college. They have like advising. We also have teaching and learning at Commons, that is in Geisel Library, and that's like a tutoring center where if you're having trouble with math or writing or biology, chemistry, whatever, they can help you out. So those resources help me kind of like get on track.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So for our next question is about academics, like you mentioned a little bit. Maybe one of you can give us a brief overview of what the quarter system is like, and then each of you can give us a little bit of an advice on what you would give to incoming student who is transitioning to the quarter system.
I can take this one. The quarter system and I have been friends for 4 years now, so hopefully. So for those who don't know, the quarter system is essentially a 10-week quarter as opposed to the regular semester system. It's about 16 weeks. It's the same amount of content that you're learning in 16 weeks. It's actually condensed into those 10 weeks. And so week 1, week 2, week 3, you're already thinking about midterms. And week 4, there's probably midterms too. Week 5, week 6, you're thinking about the second set of midterms. Week 7, week 8, week 9, some professors might still be giving you midterms. Week 10, the last week of the quarter, and then week 11 is your finals week. And so I can just talk a little bit about my experience transitioning into the quarter system. Unlike high school for me, I don't know what everyone else's experience was, but everyone seemed to be having exams at the same time in high school. Whereas here, just my first quarter coming to UCSD, you know, was talking about all these orgs and fun things that we're doing. And by the third week, I'm looking at my friends and they're still, having a good time and doing all these fun things. And I'm like, wait, it says on my syllabus that I have a midterm this week, and it's a lot of content to cover. So I think the biggest advice I can give to an incoming student is just to have that plan going into the quarter. The earlier you can have like your schedule figured out and your midterms and exams all kind of put into a calendar. We have these sheets that we give out at International Peer Coaching Pilot Program called the Quarter at a Glance. And you can just put in all the key dates where you have project deadlines, you have midterms, you have papers all due. And that way, nothing is surprising you, because the last thing you want to be is surprised with an exam. And so just the earlier you can prepare, the better and the smoother things would probably be for you. That way you can study long term and not cram things in the night before.
I definitely agree with everything Annie said. Definitely, please look through your syllabus before the quarter starts so you know what you're getting yourself into. Put it all on your calendar. Like Annie said, that quarter at a glance, I still have it in my last quarter of my 4th year. And every day after I'm done with each day, I cross every day out. So it gives you that satisfaction of, okay, I completed all my papers, my due dates, my exams for this day.
Wow, that was amazing advice. I also have my quarter at a glance. Another piece of advice that I would give is to, if you are transitioning, it's rough going from high school to college. Like it's your first quarter, even the first 2-3 quarters is going to be a transition period. So just know that you're not going to get, if you're an A student, just know that you can still be an A student here in college, but it's going to be harder to get an A. So don't be discouraged if you are not getting the grades that you are expecting. It doesn't mean that you're not learning. It's just that it's a transition period. And so there are a lot of resources on campus that you can go to if you're having trouble understanding a topic or even just like balancing life and academics. So just know that it's not you, it's everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Thank you for that wonderful advice. So again, continuing into academics, we wanted to talk a little bit about research at UC San Diego. So if a student's interested in getting research and or lab experience, what advice would you give them? And then in the same regards, what about developing relationships with faculty members?
Oh, I can jump in on this one. So these are both very related to each other because it is usually the faculty members that are doing research and running labs. So definitely focus your first year trying to go to office hours, getting to know faculty, getting to know professors that you're interested in. And trust me, professors love talking about their research. Grad students love talking about their research. So ask them, and then ask them how you can get involved and if they can recommend you different labs and places to apply to. UC San Diego also has a host of great websites and resources such as Real Portal and Handshake, where you can look to apply. My biggest advice would be, don't let the fact that you're an international student bog you down. Instead, use it to your advantage. You have a lot of different specialties and skills that a domestic student may not necessarily have. So just because you're an international student, don't stop yourself from applying. You should apply even more, if that makes sense.
I just want to jump quickly right here. If you're not a STEM related major, but you're still interested in like, what is a research class like, or how does a lab look like, you can always take like a chemistry class or a biology class, lower division, which means that are not required for, like any student can take it, not just like STEM. And what it means is that, well, you have the class, but you also have like a lab component. So you're taking class and lab, so you can have this experience of a lab or a research project and see if you like it. And if you do, you might end up applying for an internship or even volunteering at a lab or research.
Wonderful. So for our next questions, was regarding community at UC San Diego. So how have each of you found community here? And then what advice would you have for incoming international students looking to build their community at UC San Diego?
I can go. So community looks like different things, right? I think for me, I guess I would answer the second question first in terms of what advice would I be giving to incoming students? And I would say, like, don't be afraid to try new things, right? Like, you don't actually know going into things where your community is going to come from. With my experience, I'm a mechanical engineering major, but most of my community on campus are actually non-STEM majors, and just people that I found in organizations and little clubs and activities that I did throughout my career at UCSD. So, for example, I learned how to surf, and in learning how to surf, I met a bunch of people who had no idea how to surf, and we were all learning together. And those people to this day are some of my closest friends on campus. And then things like organizations, like I was pretty active in leadership organizations on campus through the college councils and associated students. And those resources and just being a leader in those spaces, you meet a lot of like-minded people, and it's really fun going through these meetings together and going through the stresses that come with being in those positions together. And in addition to that, there's always the international orgs. Like I, for one, have always been very active in the African Student Association. And there was a version of the African Student Association for a lot of different communities and a lot of different countries and regions on campus. And you just have to be a bit proactive in seeking them out. And you will meet a lot of like-minded people there. But the biggest advice I would say is just don't be afraid to try new things, because you don't know where that community is going to come from.
I think Annie covered that pretty well. Definitely reach out, step out of your comfort zone, talk to people. Just go up and talk to people. It's a little bit awkward at the start, but you'll make a friend, and you will definitely begin to find your community. Like Annie said, I don't have I found my community volunteering at MUIR organizations, college specific organizations, UCSD specific organizations, and I found like-minded people at similar orgs that I go to. So I'm part of TEDx UCSD, this international community from work that I've made with ISPO, with iHouse people. So definitely step out of your comfort zone, talk to people, find mutual interests, and everything will be okay.
Wow, yeah, both of you, amazing advice. Stepping out of your comfort zone, it exposes you to like things you need, like don't even know that you're interested in. So it's really amazing. And advice that I would give, that is also how I found my community, is talking to students in my classes, because going through the stress of like midterms and studying and finals or group projects, that's how I met like some of my best friends. And it might be scary, but just like saying like a simple question like, did you get what the professor said? Like that can, like, be the start of a friendship. So don't be afraid to talk to others.
Also, just to jump in a little bit about joining organizations at UCSD, you just show up to meetings. That is the only requirement. You look them up on Instagram or Facebook, you find when they're having their meetings, and you just come, and you get free food and you make friends. It's great.
Thank you so much. So for our next set of questions, it's going to be a little bit about student orgs, like you said, but just in general, what other extracurricular activities did you get involved in? And then how would you describe your life at UC San Diego beyond the classroom?
I can jump. Oh, go Annie.
Go for it, Rashma. You got it.
Yeah, go ahead, Rashma. So you can start.
I was just going to say that extracurricular activities that I got involved in were pretty much related to my interests. If I was into volunteering, then I would go to volunteer orgs. If I was into, I don't know, cleaning the beach or like environmentally friendly organizations, I would go to that. So my extracurricular activities were pretty much related to what I was interested in. And that described a little bit of my life at UC San Diego beyond the classroom, because I was interacting with people that were thinking like me, like had some of the same interests. So it was my life outside UC San Diego is fun, it's entertaining, it's busy. So yeah, it's whatever you want it to be and you want to make out of it.
Yeah, definitely similar along those lines. I definitely just joined things I was even slightly interested in. So I mentioned earlier about Revelle College Council. As a Revelle student, I've always kind of been involved in leadership in my high school career. I thought I'd do the same thing in college. So I just looked them up and I applied and I got in. But other orgs are like less strict about applications and things like that. Like Ayushi was saying, you would really just have to show interest and go to meetings, and there's usually food and it's usually a great time. Also, if you're anything like me and you're just super competitive because you played sports in high school, there is intramural sports, even though you're not like playing club level sports or the Division 1 or Division 2 sports with the actual UCSD teams. You can make your own community of friends that you meet at other orgs, and you just form teams and you go play intramural sports and you compete with other UCSD students. So I've always been really active in that space too. I've played intramural flag football, intramural basketball, intramural soccer, and talking to a two-time champion, just in case you didn't know. But yeah, intramurals are another great way just to stay active, stay competitive, like fun competition, and it's a great time. So I would say just I've just been really into like my little interest here and there. And I also learned how to surf. I know I mentioned that earlier too, but it's just there's so many opportunities at UCSD, from dance classes. I've taken 1 or 2 dance classes, even though I shouldn't be there because it's not for me. And definitely just explore. If you have the tiniest interest in anything, I would say just go for it.
Yeah, I resonate with both of what you said, both you and Rushma. There's the UCSD Recreational Center that has classes for all sorts of things, like Annie mentioned. There's aerial silks, there's canoeing, there's surfing. So definitely check them out. For me, I really like volunteering, so I joined my local volunteering org. Fun fact, Rushma also goes to that org, so we see each other sometimes at that club. It's great. It's a lot of fun. When we were in person, we've done things from petting cats at a cat shelter to picking up garbage on hiking trails to just having socials, going to the beach together, you know? So there's lots of different things that just joining one org can bring you. I'm also a part of TEDx UCSD. It's like TED Talks, but limited to the UCSD community. I love all the labs that I'm involved in. They're psych-based since I'm a psychology major. And yeah, I think my life outside of UC San Diego is where I take time to explore and just further my passions in things that I'm interested in. And UCSD has so many resources, so many organizations available for that. It's great. It's amazing.
That's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear all that from you all. So for our last moderated question, what is one thing you would recommend an incoming student add to their UC San Diego or San Diego bucket list? So what is something that they must do once they're here? It's a tough one.
I can jump in for that. I have answers. Hiking. Definitely put hiking on your bucket list. San Diego has so many amazing trails and they just never end. There's trails that overlook the beach. There's trails that overlook the mountains. There's trails for everything. So definitely add hiking and hiking trails to your bucket list.
And maybe some hiking shoes then.
Oh, yes, yes.
I hate to keep talking about surfing, but hear me out. You were right by the beach. Right before I came to UC San Diego, I thought I was going to be coming to the beach all the time, but by the first time the midterms hit me, it just seemed to derail all my excitement for going to the beach every day. And so, but I was able to rekindle that excitement for the beach and that love for it. And it's really a unique opportunity to live this close to a beach and have readily available resources to learn how to do like any type of water sports. So even if it's not surfing, if it's snorkeling, if it's paddle boats, like whatever it is that you want to do, I would say try to do something pretty cool on the water so that you can go on and talk about forever, like I keep talking about surfing.
I guess that my San Diego bucket list would be go to Tijuana. You've made it so far to you made it so far to San Diego. Like you're far away from home and it's just a 20-minute drive to Mexico. So if you're here, why don't also go south the border? They have amazing cuisine as well. But that's like a super extra one and not Corona friendly at the moment. I guess a proper San Diego bucket list would be going to like Balboa Park, the zoo, Seaport Village, just like downtown area. It's super, super nice and a total San Diego bucket list.
Thank you so much. So that's the end of our moderated questions. So I'm just gonna look in our Q&A, like I mentioned before. Please go ahead and keep putting your questions there, and then we'll answer a few more before we close our session. So one of the questions that we've had, let me check here. So someone asked, it might seem confusing. So when do we exactly fly in? And then how does college look like as soon as you land? So maybe thinking back at your first moment on US soil, or at least in San Diego, like what was that like? And when did you start flying in? Was it like right before school, or what was your timeline? So
Yeah. I mean, I think that looks different it's a per person basis. I can tell you about my experience. Personally, I only flew into San Diego about a week before school started. And I was actually in LA until I came into San Diego for that week. But when I did come in, and first of all, your confusions it's completely valid. Like everyone comes in like that. It's college. It's a little overwhelming at the start. I will say that one of the most calming moments was at the ISPO orientation. So when you come in, you're going to have a lot of different orientation for your college, orientation for ISPO, for perhaps your major. I think I had an engineering orientation. So you're going to have a lot of people explaining what college is from their lens. And so everything's just going to kind of figure itself out when you get here. So I guess that's the only thing I can say. Then hopefully that alleviates your stresses a bit, because you're really just going to be given like information about how everything works as soon as you get here. And there's a lot of students in your shoes. So don't feel too stressed out about it right now.
Also, to add on to that, I think my biggest concerns was I need a phone, I need a bank account, and I need bed sheets. So just there's a bank on campus, so don't worry about getting a bank account started. About a 10-minute bus ride, not even a 10-minute bus ride, a 5-minute bus ride away, there are grocery stores. We have a Target on campus now. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot about that. We have a Target on campus, so don't worry about your bed sheets. And there are lots of phone services all around just outside UC San Diego's campus. So you will be able to find everything. It took me about 2 days. So day one was dedicated to bank account and phone, and day two was dedicated to buying things that I needed. And we didn't have a Target on campus 4 years ago. So I think you could do it all in one day if you really wanted to. And like Annie said, orientations are very helpful. Not only do you get information from people speaking, but you also find friends and people in the same boat as you. And so you can definitely be like, hey, let's go shopping together. Let's go get our bank accounts made together. So I hope that helped.
Rashman, did you want to say your experience?
Yeah, well, for me, it was a little bit different because I'm a domestic student. So it was more like my family driving me, and like, every weekend I would go and get more stuff and come back and, like fill my room with decorations. But when I study abroad, it was challenging to know when to arrive, and like, I had an orientation start date, but I was like, I might want to be there like a couple days before so I can like get used to the time zone. And so I gave myself 5 days, and those 5 days I used to explore and also to kind of like get to know the city and get used to it. So yeah, and also come to orientations. They are super helpful. Like Annie and Ayushi said already, they're super helpful.
All right, thank you so much to our student panelists. I know as much as I enjoy hosting these webinars, oftentimes students want to hear from students, right? And so just thank you so much to our student panelists for sharing their experience. I have that's it for our time for questions today. And I have a few reminders before we close. So this is just like a list of different links that a lot of our students find helpful. So like I said, I'm a new student at ucsd.edu. But updates, we understand that COVID-19 is still having pretty significant and unique impacts on our international student population. So to understand how that might apply to you and affect your experience as an international student at UC San Diego, you can go to iupdates.ucsd.edu, and that will help you kind of navigate and understand what you might need to do. iWebinars is also really helpful to not only be able to view this webinar recording, but other ones we've done. So if you have questions about maybe student health, like health insurance and immunization requirements, or housing, we've done webinars on a lot of those different topics. And so I'd really encourage you to check that out. Additionally, if you have specific questions about coronavirus, you can head to return-to-learn.ucsd.edu, and then we also have a website dedicated on our page. Just some important deadlines and reminders. So you can begin requesting your visa documents now via the iPortal. So you can go to iportal.ucsd.edu. Coming up later this week, we'll actually have a webinar focusing on student accounts and finances. So if you're interested in learning more about like paying your fees as a student, maybe adding your parent as a third-party payer, international payment plans, things of that nature, we really encourage you to join us on May 20th. On June 2nd, we'll have a pre-arrival webinar dedicated to travel and immigration updates. Just a friendly reminder that July 1st is your transcript postmark deadline for UCSD admissions. And we are so excited to welcome our incoming students in September in our new international student orientation. And we're still in the planning phases of that, but for updates, you can go to iorientation.ucsd.edu. And with that, we have listed a lot of our contact information throughout today's webinar, but again, please connect with us on social media. You can actually see that one of the fun things we've been able to do recently is we created a Instagram, like a UCSD Instagram filter to congratulate our new students on their admissions and acceptance to UC San Diego. So please connect with us on social. We love to engage with our incoming student population. And if you by chance happen to use the Instagram filter and share it and tag us like on your story, we'd love to reshare it to celebrate you and the fact that you're coming to UC San Diego. So again, that's at ispo.ucsd. We have a lot of different offices like you have seen today that are so excited to welcome you. Congratulations on your acceptance and admission and acceptance to UC San Diego, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.